Hey, I'm Casey Moore. Today's focus is ball handling. I think it's a really important practice to start working on ball handling moves that are going to be game-like. And we've talked about this before. In order for us to get better at basketball, we have to have a creativity. We have to have a lot of creativity, because I want you to start practicing basketball where you're never alone on the court. You're always being guarded by somebody. In your mind, you're always being guarded. And that should be the best defender you've ever been guarded by, so that you're working on putting the ball in the right places, putting your feet in the right places. So really important to use your imagination, be creative. Ball handling moves are going to be purpose driven. So when I'm thinking about any move, whether it's crossover, between the legs, behind the back, spin move, each of them are going to have kind of two different moves. One of them is going to be working on closing space, so it's going to be more attacking at the basket, right? It's going to be tighter and shorter. So if we think about a crossover, I've got really two crossovers. I've got a tight crossover where I'm quick and short. I have a long crossover where I'm a little bit more loose. My quick and short crossover is going to be better when I have a little bit more space. Okay, so anything attacking is going to be typically when I have a little bit more space. And when I do have space, that's when I want to be really focused on creating or being the aggressor, taking away that space so that I can beat my man and attack my defender. So the other way is if I don't have as much space, I want to create some space. And that's when we're going to use more of a longer or a looser crossover, where my intention is not to attack the rim, it's to create some space. Okay, so closing space and creating space on our crossovers. So we're changing direction, that's what makes it a crossover, but we want to understand when we're going to use which type of crossover. So we're going to start with just our crossover in front. And I want you to think about the timing and the rhythm that you got to practice these, and then I'm going to give you a drill to work on with them. So when I'm thinking about a short crossover, I'm trying to keep that ball in my pocket, and I'm really working on catching my defender off guard where they have turned their body to the direction that I'm going. Because I know if I can get them to turn their feet here, then I can quickly cross. So I'm planting with ball leg, I bounce as I step, so I bounce and I push. And this is a push across my body, and it's staying tight. I want this ball to stay close. I'm trying to be able to catch this defender off guard and quickly cross. This is going to be a move that you use more often in the full court. Or maybe you're getting a screen, and to distract your defender, they're focused on the screen, they open up those hips, you cross and shoot right by them. This is very different than if I have a defender up close on me and I want to create some space. I might show to the direction that I want them to go so that I can pull that ball back into a shot typically, or even maybe a step back. So those two crossovers are very different. It's a short crossover where I plant, and it's a 1-2. This other crossover is going to be longer. It's going to be used to create space. It's still going to be a 1-2, but it's going to be a little slower. And the goal is to get the defender to move before I cross. Whereas on this short crossover, I just want to have the art of deception where that defender's not ready for me to cross them at that point. So the same applies to every other move. If I'm going to use it between the legs, same thing. I'm going to be aggressive if I have space and I want to attack that space. So I plant with a 1-2 and I'm trying to go right at the rim, right? The other way for me to work on that between the legs is I might step hard and cross this way, or even step back when I go hard here and I cross and I'm into my shot. Again, creating space versus attacking space. Understand the difference. I love the between the legs dribble because it automatically protects me when I cross. If I have a defender here, and remember we're using our imagination, if I have a defender here, I'm gonna go between the legs, and notice how this puts my body between my defender and the ball. And that's what I want. Nobody's getting through this. I don't care how long their arms are, they're not gonna be longer than my body and my arm. So when I get this between the leg, I get the opportunity to really protect this ball back here and get low and long with this step. So understand, easiest crossover is us crossing in front. We can see the ball. It's also our most dangerous because it's closer to the defender. So our between the legs and our behind the back are going to be more protective of the ball. They're also going to be more difficult dribbles because you can't see the ball. But all of them work on the same premise. My behind the back dribble, when I am crowded, I'm going to try to create space with that behind the back dribble. It's going to be a lateral move or more of a retreating move, right? Where ball is always protected because it's behind my back, and I have the ability to either take the space or create space depending on how I'm being guarded. If I was attacking with my behind the back, I'm gonna work on stepping at my defender. They're close to me. I'm gonna step and whip that ball in front of me. Step, attack right at the rim with that behind the back. It's important to understand when we're using these dribbles, because I see a lot of guys that practice 2 and 3 and 5 dribble moves, but can't really do a crossover very well. I want you to do one dribble very well before you start adding a double move or a triple move. If your crossover sucks, I don't care how many crossovers you give me, you're not gonna get around me until you have a move that actually makes me move. And that's what you're thinking about. What's your defender doing? How are they guarding you? Am I being in rhythm? And am I being on time with my feet so that I can then cross my defender? The last move that we're gonna talk about is our spin dribble. I think this is the most underrated move in all of basketball. I think it's the hardest to guard. And the reason that I love it is it gives me too many options. So if I was working on a spin dribble, I still have the same principles that I'm thinking about. I'm either attacking with this spin or I'm trying to create space with the spin. If I'm attacking, I'm gonna plant this inside leg and I'm gonna spin right off my defender at the rim. So that's a strong plant and a strong roll and a spin to the basket. I'm trying to bump my defender and step at the basket. Very different. So that's me trying to close space and attack the rim. I also want to be able to create space. So sometimes, and I use this a lot, I'm not going to use the spin as much out here, but when I get into this space, I want to be able to stop and be able to create some space with a bump on my defender, and then have the option of going multiple ways. So if I still keep a live dribble, I can spin this way, I can spin this way, I can fade this way, I can fade this way, and now I can start to add fakes and shot fakes and step throughs. As everyone's been pointing out lately, not only do you get to shot fake and step through, but you actually get an extra step, which makes you even more difficult to guard because now you can body the help defender after you've gotten your defender to jump and you step through. So this option right here of being able to turn your back to the basket and be comfortable and be able to observe the entire floor because you've got your ball protected is huge. And the way that we do this, there's two different ways. If we're doing that attacking spin, remember, I'm gonna plant with this inside leg, I'm gonna spin at the rim, so I'm really pushing that ball to the direction that I'm going. I'm here, I'm not going to drop this ball and bring it with my right hand. I'm going to spin with my left and put the ball in front of me. So I should have a man guarding me here. I'm spinning on them. Notice where this ball stays. It always stays on the outside, or I always stay in between my defender and the ball. So when I spin, here's my defender, here's the ball. That's what we're thinking on the attack. When I'm trying to create space, I'm going to bump and put the ball right in front of me. So it's a dead dribble. I am literally as I bump, coming to 2 feet, and I'm putting this ball right in front of me. And it's just dropping so that I can go either way with that ball. I want you to get good at this, of being able to bump and put that ball down. Same thing right here. I bump and I put that ball down. Now I can go either way, but remember the principle. My body between man and ball, so that it's always protected. So these are the differences between our crossovers, and how you can start to think about how you're training them and working on them so that you get better in an actual game, because that's what matters. If you can go into practice and do 10 dribble moves, but then you can't translate that to the game, it's useless. So one of the drills that we're going to use with these crossovers, I just want you to practice both of the 2 different types of crossovers down the court and back, and you're going to finish with a layup every single time. I don't care how you finish. I just want you finishing strong, and I want you finishing off this move. So my first time down, I'm going to work on those short crossovers and those tight crossovers where I'm attacking. That second time down and back, I'm going to work on long crossovers. And then I'm going to start to add my between the legs when I get better at my crosses. And then my behind the backs. And then my spins. I want you to master all 4 of these dribbles, because they are really the foundation of you being able to do another move or a 2 dribble move. And we can't get to 2 dribble moves until we master 1 dribble moves. So understand when to use the right crossover. Let me know what your most dangerous crossover is. And let me know what you struggle with and why you struggle with it in the comments so I can help you out. So I hope this video helps. I hope it adds some perspective to your ball handling, where we think not just in stationary ball handling drills or multiple moves on a basketball court, but we think about mastering 1 dribble to get to our spot, because the most dangerous scores ever in basketball were 1 dribble scores. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Learn to score off 1 dribble, and you're really gonna get more buckets and be a better scorer. I'm Casey Moore. I'll see you next time.